What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports. I don't know what I witnessed. Yes, at the end of the day, it is an Eagles victory. They're 8-2 on the season, back up on top of the NFC, and big picture-wise, that is one of the most important things. Their defense completely dominated the Lions, and they made Jared Goff's life a living fucking nightmare. Jared Goff could not do anything today besides a bit of life from Gibbs that had some big runs in this game. There was really nothing that the Lions offense can do to this Eagles defense, because how many fucking batted balls did you see between Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, even some in the secondary as well? It's crazy. I think Coop had some deflections. There was a deflection that led to an interception by Cooper DeJean, and there were so many chances that they could have forced turnovers because of these deflections, because they've had so many deflections in this game. It is insane. Nakobe Dean turned it up so late because he looked fantastic at the end of the game. He was completely taken over. Jalen Phillips dominates once again. Jalex Hunt continues to look good. Jordan Davis, he did, like I said, with the batted balls and all that stuff, he's stuffing everything. Eagles are stopping everything that the Lions even are trying to push, even on like so many fucking fourth downs. Where were the Lions 0 for 6 on fourth downs in this game? Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. The defense dominated. This defense is spectacular. This defense, especially when you get the added pieces back from injury. You also bring Brandon Graham as added depth to this defense. You add Jalen Phillips as well. It has completely shaped this defense into what you are seeing in the past 2 weeks in Green Bay and tonight. Shutting down a Lions team that is a top contender in the NFC, and the same thing with the Green Bay Packers. You hold the Packers to you hold them to 7 points, and you hold the Lions to 9 points. But what's going to be the bigger story after tonight's game? It's going to be the same thing that we talk about every single goddamn week, and it's that this offense continues to just look like pure manure. Pure, unadulterated fucking shit. It feels like it gets worse week after week after week. You think, oh, they actually have a good drive in there, and then they take 20 steps backwards. It's the classic take 1 step forward, 10 step backwards, and all that same type of metaphors there. This is what this offense does. They get too conservative. They look too scared to do they overcommit to certain things when they should commit to something else. Sometimes they don't run the ball enough. Sometimes they don't pass enough. And sometimes they commit way too much to certain things. There was a lot of times where they looked like they were committing to the throw way too much, and people were dropping balls left and right. Jalen was overthrowing guys left and right. It was just holy fucking shit. Like, Jesus Christ. And then when they have when you're able to string a good touchdown drive together, I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? And then you have drives where, Jalen escapes the pocket, makes a good throw to Jahan Dotson deep down the field, and then you get nothing after that because, one, your offensive line keeps taking penalties and undisciplined penalties, and where guys are just not running the right routes. There's nobody open in coverage. You got A.J. Brown, looked like he gave up on one of his routes where it was a deep ball. Like I keep saying, you have Jalen Hurts completely overthrowing his guys. You had Saquon Barkley downfield where he clearly overthrew that. There was a sequence in this game for some reason. I have no idea why the Eagles are even trying to shoot it for the end zone at midfield. You got so much good field position just because of your defense forcing the Lions to just be bad. That's how bad the Lions offense was today, because that's how badly the Eagles dominated them. How many times did they try to go for it on fourth down and they failed, and you got put in such good field position only for your offense to not do anything? Thank God for Jake Elliott and hitting some field goals in the wind conditions that were today in South Philadelphia, because it was windy as shit. It was very windy. So good on him for making some of those kicks. I don't get it with this offense anymore. I really don't get it. I understand the issues that we have with AJ Brown and the drama that he causes. I understand that. I am tired of the drama like a lot of other people, but I feel like that is taking over the headlines every single fucking day rather than the criticism that should be fucking going towards, and that is the offensive play calling by Kevin Patullo, because it's not improving. Like, we had this false sense of hope after 2 weeks against the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants before the bye week that, oh, maybe Kevin Patullo is figuring it out. No. No, he's not. The only reason you scored and looked so good going into the bye week was because you played a very bad New York Giants team. That was the only case right there. And yes, you had some good moments against the Minnesota Vikings, but that was also mixed in with a lot of the same crap that we've been seeing the entire season. It is bad. It is garbage. This offense should not be as bad as it is because this offense has way too much talent to be as bad as it is in the passing game and in the run game. And I think the run game is more affected by how poorly the offensive line has been playing this year, because you can't survive. You're not going to be able to survive going on a deep playoff run with how banged up this offensive line gets week after week, with Lane Johnson constantly missing games, and now he's out with a foot injury, so we have to wait and see what that is. Cam Jurgens leaves the game late. You're not going to be able to survive week after week when you have one or two linemen constantly having to go on the sidelines because you don't have the same offensive line depth that you've had in years past. And granted, these guys are just not playing the same that they've had in years past. Jordan Mailata looks like absolute crap, and just the pure undisciplinedness from this offensive line just hinders you so much to where you possibly have a good drive going. Oh, there's a holding call on Lane Johnson, sets you back, and it kills the entire drive because that's how poor this offense is. Seriously, one holding call can derail an entire drive for this team because that's how bad the offense is. It's insane. It's insane how bad that gets. So there's a lot of factors into the game, into the offense, and majority of that goes on Kevin fucking Patullo. But I think we also have to fucking put some blame on Jeff Statland for how poor this offensive line has been this year. Now, granted, do I think they're just bad? No, I think they're good players that are just playing bad. And I don't know whether it's just the mileage of how pure and dominant that they were last year and just the long stretch of going to another Super Bowl and then winning that Super Bowl. Maybe the mileage just got too much for them and they're starting to feel those effects. Granted, I still think, Landon Dickerson, even though he hasn't really been dealing with the injuries the past couple of weeks the same amount as like Cam Jurgens and Lane Johnson have been dealing with. We know he struggled in the beginning of the year because he came back way too early from a surgery and an injury that he suffered in training camp. Jordan Mailata hasn't been the same this year. Lane Johnson's constantly going in and out of games, and we really need to start having questions about Lane Johnson and just his career in general, because you had to start questioning when he should consider hanging him up, because it's basically just a week-by-week process at this point, whether he's going to when's the inevitable Lane Johnson injury? When's the inevitable time that Lane Johnson has to come out and then you see Fred Johnson come in? When's the inevitable time, even though this is not a question for Cam Jurgens about his career, but it's just when is the inevitable Cam Jurgens injury, when is he going to come out of the game and then we're going to see Brent Toth come out there and center? There's so many question marks that you have with this offensive line and just the play calling in general. Like, Jalen Hurts has been, we need to be honest here, Jalen Hurts has been bad 2 weeks in a row. And it's not to say that Jalen Hurts is the reason why the offense is bad, but Jalen Hurts is also playing bad. So both things can be true. But even so, people want to go so far to the extreme as the offense is bad because of Jalen Hurts. No. Jalen Hurts is part of the reasons why the offense, the past 2 weeks especially, has been so brutal. He's not the overall reason why the offense is bad. I think the overall reason why the offense is bad is because you have a guy that doesn't know what he's doing as a play caller on the offensive coordinator side, and Kevin Patullo. So I think that is your fucking major issue. And I really don't think people are talking about it enough, because so many people are so uber focused on A.J. Brown drama. And granted, I understand the A.J. Brown drama is annoying. It's frustrating. It's week after week when you're winning ball games and he's going on Twitter, he's going on Instagram, he's saying shit that he shouldn't be saying, and he has to speak in the locker room. He has to speak to the media every single week to go and explain why he's talking the way that he is on social media and why he's frustrated with his offense. I understand. It's frustrating. It's tiresome. It's all that stuff. I get it with A.J. Brown. But he has a fucking right to be frustrated. He really does. Because do you see this offense on a week-by-week basis? I understand, yeah, maybe A.J. Brown shouldn't do what he is doing. Maybe he should take his frustration out in a different way instead of going out and ranting on social media and just causing all this drama, which, yes, could be a very much distraction, because I think it's starting to affect a little bit of Nick Sirianni when you see him in the press conferences earlier this week, because I think he's just tired of talking about it every single week, which basically that's a lot of us right now. I am tired of listening about A.J. Brown drama. I'm sure there's going to be way more of that this week, because of course it is, because that's going to be the main talk, of course, rather than what should be talked about, which is Kevin Patullo and this offense. It just doesn't cut it. You go into the playoffs with this offense, you're getting eliminated in the first round. Granted, where you're going to be seated at, I have no idea. You do have the fortunate of beating a lot of the other teams in the NFC that are paired up with you in the top of the conference, so that may work to your benefit in terms of getting the bye week. But you play in a wild card round, you play in a divisional round, you're getting eliminated in one of those two rounds with this offense, regardless of how fantastic the defense is. If your offense continues to play like this, you are going to waste how great this defense is playing, because this defense is playing so fucking spectacular. They look awesome. Awesome. They're, granted, it's hard to even compare it to last year's defense, because last year's defense was awesome too. This defense is starting to get up there with the way they've been playing the past few weeks, just coming out of the bye week. Getting those healthy bodies back, adding Jalen Phillips to that mix. Jalen Phillips is a beast out there. He is a game wrecker. He is constantly just forcing pressure. It just opens up a different hole. Bring it back, Nolan Smith. Opens up a different hole. Maybe adding depth in Brandon Graham. Granted, he's not out there every snap. Maybe it opens up a different hole. Maybe it just opens up a lot for this defense. Hell, fucking Adoree Jackson's making plays. Adoree Jackson's having some nice pass breakups. That's how you know things are going very well. Granted, defenses still pick on Adoree Jackson from time to time. He's making plays out there. Granted, he's not the best person out there on the field, but I noticed him in certain plays. Quinyon Mitchell's still doing his thing. Coop's still doing his thing with the interception in today's game. All the pass deflections from Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and all that stuff. Alex Hunt continues to be a beast out there getting to the quarterback. Nakobe Dean, like I said, this was probably one of his best games in his career. This defense is playing so well. And I don't want to see this defense wasted because of how pathetic the offense is. So I don't even know what more they can do. You already had your bye week to where you could probably fix a lot of this stuff. You don't have a bye week anymore. You don't. You don't have really any more time to even fix what the fuck you're going to be doing with this offense. You play so scared. You play so conservative. You take risks when you shouldn't take risks. It just doesn't make sense. And you're getting stopped on the tush. Oh, that false start on the one tush push on the 4th and inches play, that was so fucking brutal. That was so brutal. And then the tush push where you get stuffed on 4th and 1 instead of just punting the ball away at the end of the 4th quarter, giving the fucking Lions some sense of life. Why aren't you just punting the fucking ball away? Why are you giving them such good field position? It just doesn't make sense, but I understand that's hindsight, because the tush push, they make it a lot of times. Most of the time, they're going to convert most of the time. This offense is just so bad. It's just so bad. This is not a Super Bowl caliber offense. And I don't want to see this defense wasted, but that's what we're witnessing right now. And granted, this defense is playing so spectacularly that it really doesn't matter what the offense does, but I wouldn't like all this pressure to be put on the defense to have to go out there and be perfect every single time. I just don't want that to be the case. I want these guys to get rest every now and then. I would like the offense to have nice, long, sustainable drives to where the guys on defense can have a rest, to where maybe you have a drive that lasts the entire first quarter. You know, Detroit gets the ball first or something like that, and then you get the ball next, and then you have a drive that lasts the entire first quarter. Like that, we haven't really seen an offense like that all season. Really, we haven't. And I just don't know how it gets better. Now, granted, next week you're playing against Dallas, and Dallas has the worst defense in the National Football League. If you cannot torch that defense, I don't know what the fucking problem is then. Well, not that I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what you're going to do. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. If you don't torch that Dallas defense, I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what they could do to fix this. People were bringing up, should Nick Sirianni take over play calling? What is Nick Sirianni going to take over play calling going to do? I know people were bringing up that Dan Campbell took over play calling for the Lions last week in their game against the Commanders. Look what that did them this week. Look what that got them this week. It's not going to fix anything. Given having Nick Sirianni taking share over the play calling, it's not going to fix anything because Nick Sirianni himself just isn't a creative offensive mind. This is what happens when you have two guys with the same exact mindset taking over the offense. This is the problem that you got into, and that's where I also got to put some blame on Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie because why would they allow that? I understand you're coming off of a Super Bowl and all that stuff, but there are probably so many coordinators out there that would kill for this job, that would kill to work with this amount of talent that you have on this roster. Nope, we got to give it to the guy that has no experience. Again. Do you get a consultant in here to help with the offense? That probably is your last straw, I would assume. That's probably your last idea. I don't know where that comes from. Do you bring in a Brian Dable as an offensive consultant? Maybe because he's pissed off so much of what happened in New York. Maybe he brings some fire and energy to here and helps get some creativity and make something different here and just bring some different ideas to the playbook. Maybe that could be an option. I just don't know where else they would go besides just bringing in a consultant. That's really what they have to do if you want to try to at least save something with this offense or try to figure something out with this offense, because it just isn't going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. You're 8-2. Seriously, we're 8-2, and this shouldn't be the main talking point. Your offense being terrible shouldn't be the main talking point when being 8-2. The defense should be the main talking point, and it should be rightfully so. But it's not going to be, because I think what needs to be talked about more is how bad this offense is. This offense is putrid. This offense is terrible. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with this offense. You're not going to go deep in the playoffs with this offense. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Because if you keep putting out the defense there, constant, short drive after short drive after short drive of your offense every single time, and the defense has to constantly go back out there, they're going to get gassed. They're going to get gassed. And you're going to waste such greatness from your defense if your offense continues to play like this. But right now, I really can't expect anything different, because this is what we've been getting the entire season. That little 2-week stretch that they had with Minnesota and the Giants, that was the outlier. This is really what the offense has been. And this is the worst of it. This is the worst of it, probably. And I really don't see a way from Jalen Hurts. He also needs to be talked about, too, because he's been bad the past 2 weeks. Really bad with his throws and his reads and everything. Now, everything is not on Jalen Hurts like some people want to push that narrative out there. But it needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about. But A.J. Brown's probably going to say something. They're going to focus on A.J. Brown. They're going to focus on the problems with A.J. Brown and not focused on what should be talked about, which is the offensive coordinator and how bad he is. He really just is that bad. It's that bad with the offense. It really just is. Just look at this game. Just look at some of the stats. Jalen Hurts, 14 of 20 in his pass attempts, 135 yards. He was not good. 63 quarterback rating. Just not good. Just not good. Oh my God. Saquon Barkley, 26 carries for 83 yards. I thought he was the best overall performer on the team. Tank Bigsby, 4 carries for 34 yards. Had a nice 17-yard run. Hurts had 10 carries himself for 31 yards. Overall rushing, you had 148 yards total. Receiving, A.J. Brown, he got the most of the targets today. He made 7 of 11 catches, 49 yards, but there was one route where he clearly looked like he gave up on the route. And I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is. He probably will give a reasoning, but it probably won't be one that satisfies people, which rightfully so. Jahan Dotson had 2 targets, made 2 catches for 43 yards. Dallas Goedert, 5 targets, 2 catches for 24 yards. He had a lot of drops today. Same thing with Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, 1 catch for 8 yards, 5 targets. He had a lot of drops. He was not good in today's game either. Saquon Barkley had 2 targets, 1 catch, and Granson had 2 targets, 1 catch. The offensive numbers, they just don't look good. They just don't look good. I want to look at the penalties too. I really want to look at the penalties because 9 penalties. 9 penalties, and I'm sure a lot of those are on the offense. A lot of those are on the offensive line, possibly. Hey. Let's look at the defense. Let's look at some of the things from the defense. Jalen Phillips, 2 quarterback hits. Greatness. Jalen Phillips, fun stuff. Nakobe Dean, he also had 2 quarterback hits. He really turned it on at the end of the game. Jalen Hunt, he had 3 quarterback hits. Great stuff. Who had some sacks? Nakobe Dean had a sack. Jalen Phillips also had a sack in this game. Zach Bond, beast as always. Jalen Carter. Like I said, Adoree Jackson made some plays. Cooper DeJean with the interception and all that stuff. Just everybody did their thing. The special teams was really good too and all that stuff. Realistically, the only thing that Detroit had going for him was Gibbs in certain plays. He had Gibbs on totality for the night. He had 107 receiving yards and he had 39 rushing yards. So that was really the totality of the offense for Detroit. Jameson Williams, he had some deep catches where there was a break in coverage, but that was basically it from there. St. Brown, he only had 2 receptions on 12 targets. Jared Goff was so bad tonight. He was brutal. Both quarterbacks were bad. Jared Goff, 14 of 37, 255 yards, took 2 sacks, had a 60 quarterback rating. They were bad. Their offense was bad besides like a few people that stood out, like Gibbs and Williams. Montgomery, he had 6 carries for 27 yards. That was basically it. There was nothing else on the offense. St. Brown had so many targets. I wouldn't say most of it was on St. Brown. A lot of that was on Jared Goff and just the pressure that he was under. He was not able to make plays under pressure. And that's a lot of credit to the Eagles defense. They were able to make those plays and force a lot of pressure on Jared Goff. Insane. Absolutely insane. Like crazy. Here's a stat from Jeff Kerr. Jared Goff targeting Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, 3 of 10 for 31 yards, no touchdowns, an interception, and a .4 passer rating. Quinyon Mitchell did not allow a single completion. My God. And also that penalty at the end of the game. Holy shit, that was soft. That pass interference on Detroit. That was the softest shit I've ever seen in my life. Softest shit. Yeah, I know it benefits the Eagles. I'm not going to put on Eagles glasses, Kelly Green glasses there, and say that the penalty wasn't shit. It was shit. It was so shit. My God, you can't even, describe it any worse. That's how bad that penalty. You got bailed out right there, 100%, because that was another classic final drive for the Eagles where they have a chance to close out the game, and they were going to go 3 and out because they can't convert on a first down, and then what do you know? And also they took a false start penalty as well, so that put them back further when I believe they were 3rd and 1, and then they went to 3rd and 8 or something like that. Offensive pass interference play saved them on that drive and basically sealed the game off. That saved them. They got bailed out. They got bailed out by ref ball. That's just another thing of why this game was brutal. Holy shit. Not ref ball entirely. Just that play is also a good explanation of why this game was just bad. My God. It was bad, man. Let's just look at some of the stuff for Detroit. First drive of the game ended up in an interception by Cooper DeJean. Then a 3 and out. Then 7 plays turned into a punt. They go for it on 4th down. They turn it over. Go for it on 4th down again. Turn it over. Then they get the touchdown drive, which then was followed up by the Eagles touchdown, which made it 13-6. Then once again, they tried to go for it on 4th down to start the 3rd quarter. They turn it over. Once again, decide to go for it on 4th down. They turn it over. Once again, decide to go for it on 4th down. They turned it over. Then they just decided to stop and just punt the ball away in the 4th quarter. Then, obviously, the Eagles, failing the tush push, allowed them to kick the field goal. And there's also a question that I have here as well. When the Lions are on 4th and 17, it looks like they're clearly keeping the offense out there near the end of the game before they kick that field goal. Why is Nick Sirianni calling a timeout in that instance? Why are you giving the Lions just another chance to reconsider and kick the field goal? Because it looked like in that point in time, they were just going to go for it, and most likely your defense would have forced another turnover. So I don't know what Nick Sirianni is doing in that instance either. That was really questionable. And also, same thing with the questionable. Why are you trying to force a tush push in your own territory instead of just punting it away and not giving the Lions good possession? Now, I understand because tush push, you normally convert it and all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Honestly, with this offensive line this year, hell, there's probably an effect to that with Juergens not being in there, Toph being the guy under center, not having Lane Johnson. Also, one of the tush pushes, one of the rookie receivers flinched, and they called it a false start. So it's everything bad, 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 bad. Offensively, bad, bad, bad. Defensively, good, fantastic, even amazing, even crazy. It's and it's crazy too because with all the problems that we have with this team, they've beaten teams like the Chiefs. They've beaten teams like the Rams. They've obviously just beat the Packers. They just beat the Lions. Like they beat the Bucks. Like they're beating some top teams here in the NFC. And granted, I know Kansas City is at 500 right now, and they're honestly at risk of missing the playoffs. Crazy. That's even a statement coming out of my mouth. But still, you beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. That's like a tough place to play. And there's just, I don't know why. It just feels worse. It feels worse when it shouldn't be. It's mainly just because that's how bad the offense is playing. That's how bad the offense. And granted, the offense had its issues last year, mainly more in the passing game, because that's how dominant the run game was with Saquon Barkley in the offensive line. Now that your offensive line is playing significantly worse than it did last year, and Saquon can't get going because of that, I think there is a cause and effect right there. It makes your passing game and the problems in the passing game look 20 billion times worse than it did last season. It's just all a snowball effect into one to create a worse offense. Insane. This is a funny stat right here from Shane Haff. Grant Alcantara played 34 offensive snaps and was used as a blocker on 30 of them. It's also worth noting that Alcantara is legitimately one of the worst blockers in the NFL. Interesting. Interesting. Robert Griffin III says at some point all the haters of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles have to just shut up and take the L because all they do is keep winning. I mean, yeah, they just do. It's just the offense just looks bad, man. I can't stand how this offense looks. I can't stand it. Is there anything else? That stats-wise pops up? That's interesting. Mike Sealski says that turns out the Eagles' 2024 MVP was actually Mekhi Becton. Maybe. Anything else? I don't think there is. It's crazy. It's just crazy, man. Crazy. I don't think there's much. It's just, it was a bad day, man. It was a bad day overall. It was a long day. It was a stressful day. The Eagles didn't help. For people that didn't see what I've said on Twitter or didn't see in the Brodes Discord, if you're in the Brodes Discord, my dad's car got stolen today. Well, this morning actually, at 3:45 in the morning, and we didn't find out until this afternoon. So, to summarize the entire story. So I come back from the gym and come home, take a shower, whatnot. Parents are going to go to a different relative's house for dinner and all that stuff. And they were going to go to the bakery or something to get cupcakes or something before they went there. And as I'm in the shower, mother knocks on the door, asks if, hey, did we parked the car on the side last night, right? When we came home? I'm like, yeah, why? Well, car's not there. Car got stolen. I'm like, what? Huh? Car got stolen. So I get out of the shower. They already called the 911. Officer comes here, all that stuff. And the entire afternoon, was talking to the police, well, the police officer that came, and going basically door to door around our streets, the cul-de-sac that's right there, to see like what people had cameras, and if people that had cameras that were running 24/7 overnight, to see if our car got stolen and see if they got footage of the car being stolen. And yes, we did get a lot of footage of our car being stolen. The first thing we got was a white car coming down the street, pulling up to the street, and eventually, so many minutes later, driving down the street with another black car, which was our car. So 2 cars left. So a car pulls up, 2 cars leave, one of those cars was ours. And then eventually we get more footage seeing the white car pull up. And then we get more footage of basically one of them, which was the best footage, of one of the other people in the roundabout over there, or cul-de-sac, whatever you want to call it, had a camera that was running 24/7, and they have the entire sequence of the car pulling up, the guys coming out of the car, taking forever to get into the car, and the alarm did not go off, by the way, so none of us heard this, and granted, this is the middle of the night, and all that stuff, so they took like at least 20 minutes to get into the car. And then eventually they drive off with that car, with our car and whatever car they brought. And then eventually we find out during the Eagles game that if you people are familiar with, in South Philly, like in this area, like where Chickies and Pizzas, where Pastificio is, the hoagie shop, the owner of that place, his son had his car stolen last night as well. Or this morning as well. And my dad's car model is an Acura TLX. So the entire thing there was, okay, Acuras apparently, especially, they're getting stolen a lot because their parts sell for a lot. But what also was funny, or not funny, but like, also was like, wow, that's a weird coincidence, or just like, wow, this is connected in some way, that the owner's son of Pastificio, his car was a white Acura TLX. And what was the car that pulled up behind my dad's car? A white car. So in that car, the son's car that was stolen, apparently that happened earlier before our car was stolen. So the white car pulls up, steals our car, and both cars drive off. So we're assuming that the white car that pulled up behind our car was also the other car that was stolen. So most likely the people that stole the cars were looking for that specific model of Acura, an Acura TLX, to either go for joyrides or to either sell the parts and take them to the scrap heap, tear them apart, sell them for parts, whatever it is. So I don't know if the car's going to be found or if the car's already taken apart. We don't know. We don't know. But it was a lot of stress for my dad, which caused me to stress out. Wasn't a good day. Wasn't a good day. Wasn't a good day. Acura's apparently big thing to steal. Crazy. So it's either they're selling it for scrap and heap and profiting off that, or just taking it for joyrides. Kias are also apparently a big thing that are getting stolen in South Philly and just Philadelphia as well. Like they somehow do stuff to bypass all the security features of the car and bypass like the button, like the push button, start activate the engine. Like, they have, for some reason, a lot of shit that, like, bypasses all of that. It's crazy. It's insane. So that was a really stressful day. Very stressful day, to summarize. And the Eagles did not make it better. The Eagles did not make it better. So, father did all the stuff with the insurance. Like, he tried to do everything possible. So, we're basically just playing the waiting game at this point. Playing the waiting game. One of his buddies that he plays hockey with has an auto shop, and when he drives down here, he's going to check to see whether, because he knows like frequent spots of where these people drop the cars off that get stolen. So he's going to check. He said either they leave them on like 61st Street in like a junkyard and just leave them there, or they leave them in Camden. So it's crazy. Who knows? It's, like I said, it was a crazy day. So, Eagles did not help that fact. The Eagles did not help that fact. So, just caused a lot of unnecessary stress. Eagles, like I said, Eagles did not help. This is why I drive a manual. This is why I don't drive in general. I never know. Never know what's going to happen. We do got some calls here. We got some text. We got some calls. So we might as well get to those and some of you guys here in the live chat as well. So let's do that. And then we'll wrap it up for the night because it is 12:15 and it's been a long day. I'm also tired. So let's get the Sean's call first. What do you gotta say, Sean?
So you were definitely bailed out by the officiating at the end, but you've been bailed out by Vic Fangio and the defense for the last 2 weeks. I mean, again, you take the win, you knock Detroit down another peg, but this game should have never been close. This game should have been decided in the first half. It is scary to me that Detroit was that beat up, especially in the secondary. They generated really no pass rush throughout the entire game, and yet the Eagles could not move the ball a lick. I mean, it seems like there's always a pattern. When one or two offensive linemen go out, the offense bogs down. But to me, if you really want to win another world championship, this offensive coordinator needs to go. I mean, this offense should be scoring 28 points a game by accident with the talent that they have. I don't understand the play calls. It seemed like tonight was all about appeasing A.J. Brown instead of focusing on the task at hand. Yes, they're winning, but you're not going to be able to keep this up. A.J. Brown is exactly right. I mean, the offense is just failing miserably week in and week out. The Eagles have to be the most boring team to watch in the National Football League, and it shouldn't be this way. Patullo needs a pink slip tonight. I know it won't happen, but I'd be all for it if it did.
Oh, yeah, I'd be 100% all for that if that were the case. It's just, it's like, as frustrated as we are with A.J. Brown and causing drama and all that stuff, he has every fucking right to be mad and frustrated with the way that this offense is performing every single week, or lack of performance, because this offense shouldn't be as bad as it is now. They have way too much talent to barely even be putting up 20 points a game. Barely. I can understand Saquon maybe not having the same success as he has last year just because of the fact that the offensive line isn't the same quality playing-wise. The passing game shouldn't be this terrible. The passing game shouldn't be this much of a struggle to get guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert the ball. It shouldn't be this much of an issue. And yes, was this week more catered to try to appease A.J. Brown? Probably that was a factor. But I don't even think it's a matter of fact if A.J. Brown just wanted to be appeased with getting all the targets in the world. It's just, you need a fucking, like, NFL caliber offense. I think that's more of the case. It's just, there just isn't there's just nothing here. This is this is probably worse than Pop Warner. Like, let's be honest here. It's insanely how bad this is. Like, there's no excuse for it. No excuse. Let's go to Tyler.
Okay, holy shit. I can't tell you whether I loved what I saw or if I absolutely hated what I saw. It's time for me to speculate. Is this offense so fucking scared and conservative because they're hiding something on the offense that they're going to bring out in the playoffs? Or is this offense playing so conservative that the defense can practice, so the defense is stacked for the playoffs? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I keep seeing the same shit over and over again, and usually when it comes to doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, makes you insane. Well, for the Eagles, apparently, it makes us fucking winners. I am just, I can't stand what I'm watching offensively, but somehow, some way we keep winning, and it's crazy to me. This is the most annoying, great Eagles team I have ever seen in my whole entire life. Like, this offense is unwatchable. If I was another fan of a sports team, if I was any other fan but an Eagles fan, I would be ripping my eyes out or I'd be going to sleep because this team is just so fucking boring to watch. But defense, man, I'll tell you what. Everybody brings up the Seahawks defense in the Super Bowl, the Legion of Boom. Well, this Eagles team is the Legion of Doom on defense. That's all I got for you, man. Good win for the Birds. Let's just keep on coming. Let's keep the wins coming, and I'll talk to you next time. Another Super Bowl two-peat. Can't get that ahead of it myself. I didn't even get to talk about Kevin Patullo or Nick Sirianni getting fired, which I want one of them fired by the end of the year, by the way. I can't keep watching this conservative offense. That's all I got. Go Birds. See you next time. Peace.
And I'm sure there'll be a conversation. It'll most likely be Patullo if that's the case. Like you cannot run this same thing. If you don't find success in the playoffs, you can't run the same offensive coordinator back next year. You either just demote Kevin Patullo back to the position that he once was, or you fire him and you bring in an experienced offensive coordinator that's either not going to be up for a head coaching gig or whatever it is, or you just hire a coordinator that wants the job and is qualified for the job. Someone that's called plays before. Like, someone that can run a competent fucking offense. That's all we're fucking asking for. And there's a great term that you say they're so they're so bad at these things, yet they just keep finding ways to win. It's they're terribly good. They're the worst great team in the NFL. The worst great team in the NFL. That's what they are. Because their offense is just that fucking garbage. What Sean said in the earlier call, this team should be averaging at least 28 points per game by accident. That's how much talent you have on offense. It should be this difficult, but they find a way to make it this difficult. Let's get to Zach's call. Then we'll get to you guys in the chat.
All right, well, let's get the positive out of the way so we can rant. This defense might actually be better right now. I'm not going to say it is, but it's on par with the defense in the Super Bowl against the Packers in the playoffs last year. I mean, this is the highest level that the Eagles defense can play at, and it's incredible, man. I mean, Adoree Jackson was making plays. The whole D-line was just on point. Like, I can't even single one or a guy. It was the entire unit was amazing tonight. I mean, I've never seen Detroit, a prolific offense, look like that. And that's another good NFC opponent that you've taken down now. So that's big. But the offense, the play calling, Jalen Hurts was not good. He missed a lot of throws. I mean, the O-line is terrible. Lane Johnson is, I don't know, man, just a question mark, banged up every week. Mailata, Dickerson, they don't look good. Juergens is an injury concern every week. And then what the hell are we doing going for it and giving the Lions the ball there? I know we shove it every time and it makes sense, but the defense, just trust your defense. Kick it deep. Make the Lions drive the length of the field. It's a no-brainer, man. I mean, it's the same shit as last week, throwing the deep ball to AJ. Stop screwing around. It's going to end up costing them, and this way of playing is not sustainable. So if this offense, if this O-line, run game, everything can't get going, I do worry about that in the long run. But, hey, man, that defense is elite. So, concerns, but they got the W. Hey, let's beat Dallas next week. And, I mean, the division's wrapped up already, but you beat Dallas, it basically puts the final nail in the coffin. So, we'll let it go. Long-ass call as per usual. Hey, go Birds. Peace.
I mean, yeah, it is important that they're stacking up wins. I'm not going to deny that. Especially in the beginning part of the season where they're stacking up wins, especially against the tough teams that they're playing against. It is so important. It is so crucial to do that. It definitely is. It 100% is. No one is denying that whatsoever. No one. It's just that what Zach said, this brand of offense, it's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable at all. It really just isn't. So, and yes, to your benefit, you're 7-1 within your conference. And you've beaten teams like the Rams, you've beaten teams like Tampa Bay, you've beaten Green Bay, you beat Detroit, and that's basically it right there. You're going to be playing Chicago in 2 weeks, well, on Black Friday after the Dallas game. So that's another team within your conference that you're probably going to, look to beat right there just to make your case even better for the bye week and all that stuff. So it's definitely going to be hard with Los Angeles, just to your benefit, you beat Los Angeles this year, the Rams. And I'm not sure what their schedule looks like the rest of the year in terms of their quality of competition going down the way. So they got some tough games. They definitely do. They got Tampa Bay next week on Sunday Night Football. Then they play Carolina, which is like they're a middling team, but they've found a way to win some games against some very tough opponents. So that'll be a weird game. Arizona's like you never know what you're gonna get from fucking Arizona on a week by week basis. So that's just a weird thing. Even though they play Arizona 2 more times this year, they play Detroit, they play Seattle again, they play the Falcons, and they play Arizona at the end of the year. So they're gonna be getting some primetime games as well. They got the like I said, Tampa Bay Sunday Night Football next week. They play Seattle on Thursday Night Football, so that's always a weird thing. Like right after they play Detroit. They play Atlanta on a Monday Night Football, so a lot of weird stuff. So we'll see where that goes for them. In terms of like the Bears, like in terms of the teams that they play, because they're 7-3 right now. Obviously, we know they play the Eagles on Black Friday. They play the Pittsburgh Steelers, so who knows a game against the Steelers, which version of the Steelers, even though Aaron Rodgers is hurt, even granted he's not the reason why they were even remotely successful, even though I don't think their record's that good this year. They're 6-4, so like I said, you just don't know what version of the Steelers that you're going to get on a week-by-week basis, so Steelers games are just always weird. They play the Eagles. They still have to play Green Bay 2 more times. They have, like, look at the end of their schedule. 4 of the last 5 games, or 5 of the last 6 games, Eagles, 2 of those against Green Bay, 1 against San Francisco, and 1 against Tampa, and 1 against Detroit, the final game of the season, which is a flex game possibly, which probably could turn into a primetime game in terms of like playoff positioning and all that stuff, and maybe stuff for the NFC North. That could be like very well help decide the NFC North, because that's not going to be decided until we get to the end point of the year because of all these matchups that these guys have with each other. So yeah, it's like nothing set in stone with Chicago. So yes, it really is important of how many games that you've won against your conference this year, and especially against the teams that are in this fighting for the NFC, just the top of the NFC. I would say probably the easiest schedule out of all the teams is probably Tampa Bay. They got, even though they play Los Angeles next week, they play Arizona. They still have to play Carolina twice. They play New Orleans. They play Miami. They play Atlanta. And so the Bucks probably have the easiest schedule, but the Buccaneers are just like so banged up. So who knows what's going to happen at that point. But so yeah. And then so you play Dallas next week. And in terms of just a division in general, that's basically wrapped up. Everybody in the NFC East besides you is below 500. So yeah, that's basically all that is at that point. Washington, they keep losing games because they're completely overrated and Jaden Daniels is hurt. The Giants suck. The Cowboys, they suck. And yeah, realistically, the best division in football right now in the NFC is probably the NFC North and the NFC West, because that's just like fantastic competition between all these teams right here. So it's crazy. Who's the top in the AFC right now? Denver. Denver's 9-2. The most fraudulent 9-2 team that I've ever seen. And we lost to them. So yeah, there's that. New England's 9-2. The Colts are 8-2. Jeez. My God. Let's get to you guys in the comments before we wrap it up. This has gone way longer. Michael, in one way, 2025 can actually be worse than 23 if we fall in the playoffs because we would waste such an elite defense. Yeah, I could see that. Thank God for Vic Fangio from Austin. This win is nothing to celebrate about. Bang, bang, bang goes my head against the wall. Oh, wait, we actually won. We would be 5-5 or worse without this defense. I would agree. I would 100% agree with there. If we had a competent OC, this would have been a massacre. Oh, 100%. 100%. The Kevin Patullo experiment needs to be ended before the playoffs. Need to get somebody else in here with enough time to prepare for that. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The most they'll do is bring in a consultant. The most they do. The alliance is complete. Thank you from Dr. Drew. So I'm assuming you're a Chicago Bears fan, if that's the case. I'm assuming you're a Bears fan. A lot of Bears fans and Eagles fans were like really like partnering up the past 2 weeks because of the Eagles playing the Packers and the Lions. So that's interesting. And that alliance has to end when the Eagles and the Bears play on Black Friday. That'll be funny. Let's see. The false starts need to end. O-line needs to be more disciplined. Jake Elliott is a bad man, though. Jake Elliott is clutch. Everybody on the O-line needs to go to an escape room or something to work on cooperation, and they are still risking Saquon's health by throwing him under the bus every other snap. My God. I got that same sweatshirt. Yeah, I put this on because it was freezing in here, so I needed to warm up. Also, I love this hoodie, so it's a win-win. This type of winning isn't going to last unless the offense steps it up. Oh yeah, I agree. You can't expect the defense to be perfect every single time out there. You can't be expecting the defense to be allowing less sub 10 points per game. That's just not sustainable, regardless of how great the defense has been. The amount of time Saquon has just rammed in Dickerson and Mailata, yeah, that's just crazy. Maybe Mekhi Becton was the difference in the offensive line being fantastic last year. Maybe. I always see Saquon getting stuck behind our own guys. At what point does he just say screw it and run up someone's back and vault over the D-line past the line of scrimmage? I mean, he's capable of doing it, so why not try something different, even though I would be very terrified of him risking injury there. So he shouldn't be doing that. Knowing this team, they'll blow out Dallas. I mean, I could see that too. I can 100% see that happening. 100%. Love seeing Dean bulldozing Gibbs out of the way. Oh, man. Yeah, all the talk about the car being stolen and all that stuff. It has been a trend in Philly recently, yes, with the Acura specifically being stolen in Kias. It sucks, bro. Hope you can recover the car. It would suck to have to buy a new one. Well, you would get money back from the insurance company, so you would be getting something at least to pay off a new car. But yeah, definitely, especially since this car was already paid off, you don't want to really do that. You know what I mean? Let's see. We got a lot of that in Baltimore. Not shocked, Zach. Not shocked. I'm a big fan of the Eagles this season. Better Eagles win. Game 82 from Little G. Griffith. Eagles kick Dallas Cowboys. We'll hope. Yeah, this specifically the Acuras for some reason. I think that model too, the TLX, is like stolen a lot. So it's crazy. Yeah, and Kias as well. A lot of Kias too. Where was I just at? A lot of Kias have been stolen in my neighborhood. Jeez. They're even starting to work their way over here to me in South Jersey. We caught people with PA plates, presumably stolen, sneaking around at night behind business looking for weaknesses. Wow. Certain years of Kias and Hyundais are easier to steal. A business next door to ours had all the cats stolen off of their work fleet one night by a P8. Jesus. Jeez. I'd work at a car shop. Reported auto thefts are slightly up in Philadelphia, are slightly up compared to this time last year. Yeah, it's probably, I wouldn't be shocked, especially with all the reports about Kias and Acuras being stolen. Let's see. Yeah, it's just annoying. I appreciate your guys' thoughts. Just I feel bad for my dad, because that was like one of his dream cars. Remember when Bryce Harper's? Yeah, I do remember when AJ Brown's got stolen in the offseason. I definitely do remember that. Classic Philadelphia. My neighbor had his truck stolen, but he got it back because he had a tracking device in it. That's the one thing we probably regret not putting in that car was a tracking device. But you got to like put it in like a weird spot to where those guys are not going to spot it. So like you got to put it like under the seats or like in a weird compartment to where they're just not going to check for it or something like that. So yeah, that definitely is something that we would probably regret doing. Let's see what else. Sean always hits the nail on the head. Let's see. Back when I was in college, some derp stripped a Cooper out of some light poles on a wooded trail and then got caught by the police because they made it so dark that they had to use their phone. Flashlights to try to escape. The cops were waiting in the parking lot. Jesus Christ. Chicago isn't all that. But since we play like this, who knows every week? Yeah, who knows? This team is reminiscent of the 2024 Chiefs, who could hardly score 30 points in a game, but were still wound up with a great record. Yeah, the bullshit is real. The bullshit is real. The bullshit is so real. So real. Man. Crazy. Crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. They got those good alternators and converters. Oh, man. Yep, great. Hopefully we get some good news tomorrow. Hopefully somebody finds the car. But I'm already thinking the worst, that car is already long gone by now, or it's sold for scrap. Hopefully it's one of those situations where they just dumped it in the yard after a joyride and they just left it. Hopefully somebody finds it. But yeah, that'll do it for tonight, everybody. It's almost past 12:30, so gotta wait for Brodes to do whatever he's doing, because I don't know when I'm gonna sleep soon. So yeah, it'll be another long night. But I appreciate y'all tuning in as always. So yeah, we'll see. So appreciate you guys for tuning out. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Does me a great deal of service. And also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Don't pass it up. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate all the kind words and all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Flyers don't play till Thursday, so there's definitely gonna be, maybe we'll have some, if there's anything news related this week before Thursday, maybe we'll do something. So